Yes! Get ready for some truth, for some bombs to be dropped on thee. Hamas Behizzy is here to drop some bombs. Nick Moseder, the beautiful Wolfman, went to New Hampshire and he did not disappoint. Nick Moseder got you on tape saying exactly what the state of New Hampshire does not want to hear. Play the clip, George.
Okay.
We posted images of the microscopic photograph to verify that they really do match, and we had to do some experimentation to get them to fold in a way that matched.
Okay.
So we're really quite confident that those match the way the valves were folded originally.
All right.
So that contest had 50 ballots for Republicans, 25 ballots for Democrats, but in the other contests, but all 75 ballots were for the Republicans in the state rep contest. Mm-hmm. So the question here was, would the fold through St. Laurent's vote target be interpreted as a mark which would generate an overvote in that contest so that none of the four would be counted?
Yep.
And we found rates of generating overvotes from roughly 24-5% up to 72%.
No kidding.
The machines. Yeah.
So that's a big problem.
It's enormous. It's a huge,
okay, we found a big problem today. That was a theory before today, right?
It was a theory before today.
Until we ran the first batch of paper through, we didn't know.
We didn't know. We were shocked at how big the effect was.
So do you think that could be an issue out that expands beyond Wyndham?
Yeah, I mean, if you have a fold through a vote target, these machines will presumably, at some rate that may vary by a whole, depending on the state of.
He doesn't know what he just did. Activate the convincing these legislatures to do their jobs Behizzy brain. Yes, let's activate that side of my brain. So, if you're running a little bit behind, that's absolutely fine. That's Philip Stark in that video, pretty much saying there's an issue with how the fold is on a certain type of ballot. Let's just put the word here. Yeah, there's an issue in folding. Interesting. Now, to put this into context, the state of New Hampshire casted a total of 261,062 absentees. To put it into more perspective, that number was 75,305 absentees. This is the part where the New Hampshire legislature has to understand this is their job. They have to open a legislative investigation for the purpose of election reform, just like the Arizona Senate is doing. This is my little email I ended up sending to the New Hampshire Senate. Please listen to George here very carefully because this is important. This is a danger to our democracy. This is important, okay? New Hampshire, you have to do it like this. Hello, New Hampshire senators. I've been following all of your work in New Hampshire and would like to commend your efforts and appreciate how effortless the bill for the audit went, but I'm a bit disappointed in a few things. Just a few. You never needed a bill to do your constitutional duty of overseeing all elections and setting the times, places, and manner of elections. The United States Constitution, Article 1, Section 4, Clause 1 says the times, places, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof. Looks as if we have a smiley face over there. The state Senate in New Hampshire has a broad constitutional power to conduct its investigations of elections as far as to fulfill its constitutional purpose. New Hampshire, like most states, uses the Mason's Manual and not Masonry, not Freemasonry. That's not what it's the Paul Mason Manual to outline the duties of state legislatures. And it says a legislative body or a committee, when acting within the scope of its authority to conduct an investigation, may summon, examine witnesses, require the production of, and examine books, records, and papers. That's page 292, section 802, the summons, subpoenas, and warrant sections of the Mason's Manual. This section also states when a subpoena ducis tecum has been issued under statutory authority, showing that the purpose of the examination was well within the scope of the inquiry authorized, the court cannot cancel the subpoena, nor enjoin the issuance of any further subpoena. That's also page 292, section 802, summons, subpoenas, and warrants section, item 6. As we can all see, you have the legal authority to conduct your own legislative investigation via subpoenas of all ballots, machines, and records. All cases where counties, cities, and towns have challenged the Senate's authority have ended in judges denying their challenges. This is the same thing that happened in Arizona, where Judge Timothy Thomason gave his ruling on whether or not the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors could prevent the Senate's access to conduct its audit. And this was the conclusion. The court finds that the subpoenas are legal and enforceable. There's no question that the senators have the power to issue legislative subpoenas. The subpoenas comply with the statutory requirements for legislative subpoenas. The Senate also has broad constitutional power to oversee elections. The Arizona legislature clearly has the power to investigate and examine election reform matters. Accordingly, the senators have the power to subpoena material as part of an inquiry into election reform measures. As such, the subpoenas have a proper legislative purpose. The subpoenas also do not violate the separation of powers principles. Production of the subpoenaed materials would not violate confidentiality laws. Wow! From Judge Timothy Thomason in Arizona. The Maricopa County Board of Supervisors challenged the Senate's ability to conduct investigations. They challenged the validity of the subpoenas, and the court said the subpoenas were legal and enforceable, and the legislature has the power to investigate. They also said the subpoenas could potentially be violating the separation of powers principle, to which the court denied their claim. And they also said, well, if we hand over everything to the Arizona Senate, the confidentiality of our voters would be ruined. And the court said, no, it would not. This is exactly how the New Hampshire Senate has to approach this. With the incident that occurred in Windham, it is more than important the Senate does its job by auditing the whole to ensure this was not some statewide phenomenon in all races. Therefore, I am urging the Senate to place subpoenas for all ballots, voting machine systems, etc. used in an election in New Hampshire for an independent forensic audit. We need to utilize Jovan Pulitzer, whose expertise is in checking folds on mail-ins, which is very important in this instance, and detecting kinematic artifacts on the paper. Utilizing cybersecurity experts like Allied Security or Colonel Phil Waldron to understand the voting system is crucial. And bringing in a capable liaison like John Brakey of Audit USA to facilitate the process would be great to install trust in the process and rally all parties around the audit. John Brakey is the Bernie voter, Democrat, who runs Audit USA, that's currently a co-liaison in Arizona. So much for, it's a partisan audit. To ensure trust, the audit should have cameras everywhere, but angled at a distance to ensure confidentiality of each ballot. Your state legislature in New Hampshire has the power to subpoena. All they need to do is write a list of things they're placing subpoenas on, get a majority of the senators to vote on it, maybe the head of the Judiciary Committee and the Senate President to sign off on it, or you just need a majority, and those subpoenas at that point become legal and enforceable. You heard what Philip Stark said. This issue couldn't have just been about Windham. He convincingly said it. It could have been everywhere because of the issue of the folding. For the New Hampshire Senate to make a bill, pass it to the House, get it to the governor, completely ruins the separation of powers because the Constitution gives you the power to do that, to investigate elections if that's the case. It doesn't actually outline any real measures for having to make a bill and then send it to the governor's desk to say, no, place subpoenas to all these cities and towns for all their equipment, all their machines, all their papers, and there you go. We conduct a real forensic audit. Because you could just watch that interview with Harry Hursty and Philip Stark, and they look like they're just learning this whole process as they go. They're learning about the fold issue. But if you had Jovan, this guy could have come in with Allied Security and Colonel Phil Waldron. They would have known right away. Okay, Jovan's gonna look for the folds. Okay, there are folds in here. Okay, he's checking for folds. Now, granted, he's not checking to see whether or not the system would read the fold differently and think that's an overvote. No. He's just checking for the folds. But I'm sure Colonel Phil Waldron would be more experienced considering they're expert witnesses in actual cases. So is Jovan. Jovan's an expert witness in Georgia. You don't just become an expert witness by just having a YouTube channel and screaming to legislatures to do their damn job. All right, thank you. Goodbye. Look, you have this authority. You have to use it. The people gave you this authority. You have the exact same manual as the Arizona legislature. Copy their process. The United States Senate places subpoenas all the time. Shouldn't be any different in a state like New Hampshire. And that's the same thing in Wisconsin. You can do this. The same thing in Georgia. You can do this. The same thing in Pennsylvania. You can do this. Your legislatures have this authority. They need to use it. They need to conduct investigations. Hire your own auditors. I don't know, rent out a big old gym and conduct the audit there where everyone can see, where we have cameras everywhere. We have transparency so people can finally move on from November knowing it was the safest and fairest